And we're back. And you are listening to Villaincast, BJJ Anti-Heroes, with myself, Chris, the Villain Pains, and Naki, El Jefe Arshed. And welcome to Reap the Week. But first, a quick thank you to our members at In Theory BJJ, Concept Driven Jiu-Jitsu. For fight commentary, technique and concept videos, private coaching, monthly webinars and Q&A sessions, please visit www.patreon.com/InTheoryBJJ. Good evening, Naki.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Do you still bob your head along, like when I'm doing that?
Yeah.
I can't see anymore, and I was just curious. It's been a couple of weeks. Finally settled at home. A lot has happened in the world in the last couple of weeks. You good? How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Same old graft.
Same old graft, eh? Same old graft. What's been happening for the last couple of weeks? What have you been up to?
Ooh, what have I been up to? Well, it's some holidays in it, so I've kind of been busy with the kids and, kids, and I've got as much training as I could in, to be fair.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know the feeling.
And then the class numbers haven't been that busy as well, so it's like, you just do what you can.
Yeah, it's the thing with summer, isn't it? Like, it always goes, it's either depths of winter or peak summer. It's always just a bit quiet, just, especially in the summer. Like, as soon as it gets more comfortable and light out that you want to go do other things, you go do other things.
Yeah, we don't get much sunshine, do we?
No. So you make
Gotta
the
make
most
the most of it. Yeah,
exactly. It's quite warm right now as well. So it's like, when it comes to like 5 o'clock, and especially if you've got kids, and you think, "Now, spend some time with them." It'd be nice, and especially if you've been out all day. And like kids' classes are the worst to try and run at this time of year, just because all that routine just goes flying out the window.
Yeah, agreed.
But it always comes back. It's only the ones without lives that stick around in the summer. So we've had questions. I've got some questions of my own as well. Like, I've been having a good ponder because it's been an interesting couple of weeks. So what the first ones, and this is quite an interesting one. I'm going to try and do this isn't one that was asked. This is one that I have for myself. Best way of saying this diplomatically. So, the whole thing about jiu-jitsu is you are essentially teaching people how to hurt other people. And with what has been happening recently in regards to so if anyone listening to this isn't up to date with UK news, whilst I was away in Germany, the UK decided to burn itself down. Quite spectacularly as well.
I forgot about that.
How'd you forget about that? Literally, the UK almost burnt down. I was away watching the news going, oh, that's problematic. Now, I'm not going to go into the political things about this. I'm going to try and stay as neutral as I can. But that is a concerning thing. Like, from a black belt's perspective, knowing what you essentially do, as in you teach people how to become more violent, more capable of violence. The question then becomes, is there a moral issue teaching people this stuff?
No, I don't think so, because it's like you've got to. I think being able to defend yourself appropriately should be an essential skill. I think every human should have the opportunity to learn how to defend themselves properly. And I think you'll build a lot of confidence and you learn to handle yourself better in them situations. I think if you know what you're capable of, that's the way I feel anyway myself. Because I know I won't do anything unless I absolutely really have to. I don't need to prove anything to anyone in any conversation. If I know something is about to kick off, I won't take it the way towards violence unless someone's really getting on my nerves and there's no cameras around and I think, okay, I can get away with
No
this one.
cameras.
I can get away with this one, and either the witnesses I know or there's no witnesses. Then it's different. But I think generally, like you avoid it because you know how unpredictable some. Even though you could be good at defending yourself, like there's still that element of unpredictability, and you don't want to take things there. That's my personal experience when something has happened, and I'm like, I didn't want it to go there, but I'm thankful to know what I know that I can control the situation to an extent.
I think there's a I mean, obviously we had the riots happen, and I was surprised how many people within the jiu-jitsu scene were in agreement with the general reasoning behind the riots. I found that quite concerning. When I saw people in positive response to it, I was like, oh, problematic. But not just that. I think that was the catalyst for the thought I had. But more a case of, in regards to, you think of the whole conversation, and it's completely different in a way, but the conversation in the US about background checks on people and this, that, and the other before they buy a gun. I know we're not guns, but you are still teaching people how to be capable of violence. And this conversation is going a bit further than it's going to go further than I anticipated, but good. But it's like, we don't do any sort of background checks on people before they come in the room. And it's amazing how many, I know you can find pretty much anything you need to know on YouTube these days, but it's amazing how many people come in the room and they don't know how chokes work. And then you explain to them very early on, the right way of putting pressure on someone, the right way of applying a rear naked. I mean, the amount of people who don't understand what a rear naked choke is, or like they've seen something resembling one on maybe the UFC, but they have no idea how to put it on. Then you teach these people how to do it, and then they're capable of it. And these are people who might be people, who are capable of domestic violence and all manner of awful things. And here you are kind of giving them more, you're not affecting their aggression, but you're giving them more tools to become more effective at their problematic life choices. I just find that worrying sometimes. I think I've suddenly got a lot of anxiety about jiu-jitsu.
No, you're just worried for no reason, Chris. We've been in worse times where,
No.
people had guns aside, sword fights, for example, they'd learn how
completely.
to flipping fight swords, you know what I mean? I think it's just part of something that you have to do in society.
Yeah. It's just like, obviously, from an instructor's point of view. I mean, because there was that guy down in, is it Hainault or something in London, who was the one who went and stabbed those people with a sword or something in the daytime. But he was like a purple belt in jiu-jitsu.
Oh yeah,
as well.
yeah. A few months back.
Yeah, exactly. And so you think, as a black belt, if you were to find out you've been teaching someone who then, obviously he went out with a sword, so it's not really the same. But imagine you were teaching someone who then went out and did something atrocious with what you taught them.
Yeah, I think you can't control that, can you? It's one of them things.
No.
You're always going to have bad apples, and it doesn't represent everyone, I think.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, I don't know. Maybe there's a part of me that just thinks, it's such a sketchy line sometimes. Like, morally, obviously I can't control what people do, but the idea that you've kind of, because that's the equivalent, again, like you've armed them, and you're like, well, I couldn't control what he did with what I armed him with, but yeah, you still armed him, and you didn't check if they were, not nuts first. That's why I kind of, on a similar kind of conversation, I've really, really kind of pulled away from doing submissions. Like, I don't like finishing submissions. I feel really uncomfortable with right now. Oddly,
I don't know. I don't.
um,
I think you're going through some crisis, Chris.
as for me, I think I am going through some sort of crisis, but it has made my. I think the other thing, that's by the by. But I think I am going through some sort of not confidence crisis, but more a case of caring too much about people.
Yeah, I don't want to hurt you, crisis.
Yeah, I don't want to hurt you, crisis. But it's making my it's weirdly making my jiu-jitsu way, way, way better than it ever has been.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, you don't want to hurt people, but you're fucking making people exhaust tap.
I don't want to. Okay, I don't want to injure people. That's the difference. I don't want to injure people. I don't want to cause them an injury. I don't mind hurting them. Like, making someone suffer without leaving marks on them in this sport is fine. But I don't want to injure them. And so I think that's why I've kind of pulled away a little bit from submissions, is that I'll still apply the control for a submission, like the control for an armbar, the control for a leg lock, but I am more likely to not put it on. I am more likely to maintain the control and then kind of give you a countdown and go, we good? We cool? We cool? You ain't going anywhere. We cool? And doing that repeatedly and then like holding it so successfully that they can't escape, plus also controlling people so completely that I don't have to Hail Mary any submissions. Like, it's weirdly made my jiu-jitsu better, avoiding submissions, avoiding submission finishes.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I can understand that.
Like, I was watching I think it's because watching people who now having this kind of perspective and then watching people put submissions on and watching them just really crank the shit out of them, I'm like, oh my God, that's actually really scary.
I think you might lose your nickname of the villain if you carry on this way, Chris.
I think there's always been a level of irony to be called the villain. Yeah, man, like being at the camp just and watching some people like, at this holiday camp kind of thing, like really like slam through some arm bars. I was like, good God, like, is that necessary? Like, if you just controlled them successfully and like held them there that they couldn't move for 5 seconds, you'd get the same outcome. You could say, yo, we good? We don't have to go through with this. Yeah, like, I think as well, like, in competition, competition was always a bit different for me because you think, well, we're in that kind of agreement. But when we're in the training room, we're all on the same team. So the idea of like even potentially injuring teammates, that makes me feel weird now.
It's part of the game, unfortunately. You just got to limit it as much as you can.
Yeah, it's part of the game, but again, like, from an internal perspective, like in the gym, I think there's a lot of benefit to be said of not finishing submissions and controlling them, because then you give the other person experience in escaping them, and if that person's escaping them, then the protagonist A is someone who can then work more on their control. So I do think there's a lot of benefit of not putting submissions on in the gym.
Yeah. I do go through periods of where I don't do many submissions, just when I want to establish control. So last few weeks that's what I've really been doing as well, just staying on top and getting my controls right. Using my legs to control people more, and then just keeping the bottom person moving, because that's the right defense as well. Like, don't stop moving, and I've got to keep pinning you. And if I do go for a submission, you kind of lose the position, don't you? And then it's a scramble, and then
Well, that's the thing. Like, if you're going to throw away your position to go for a submission, you're going from a major position to a minor position, and then spending that time to not put the finish on and maintain control still through the minor position, like holding on to a saddle or something for 5-6 seconds and not putting a heel hook on, and then looking at them thinking, well, I've gone from my top control into this saddle and you're still not escaping. You're not hurt. I'm not hurt. I think we can leave both fine. Because it's like, again, like it's rare that I see people get injured from slammed on submissions. The majority of injuries that I've seen in jiu-jitsu is more from someone thinking, I'm gonna get out, and the other person going, no you ain't. Like, that's the majority. Like, anytime I've ever been injured, that's why. As you have like an arm bar on, and they're like, trying to thrash their way out of it, thinking they're gonna get out. All of a sudden, their arm pops. Like, that's avoidable. That's you could say to the one person, "Oh, you should just tap." But again, when you're in the heat of the moment, and your adrenaline's going, and you think, your pride's fucking with you, and you think, "Oh, I can get out of this one," and then all of a sudden you don't, and your arm's on backwards. Man, I think, I don't think it's a confidence thing. I think I've just hit like peak zen right now. Of a very control heavy version of jiu-jitsu. Like, the submissions are still there, but they're very, like, same with chokes, as in being able to put a choke on with zero squeeze, and they're not going anywhere. You can just, like, there's no crank, there's no pain, and they just, it slowly comes on over like 8 seconds. Like, that's jiu-jitsu.
Ultimate control. Exactly.
I think it's one of the, maybe it's my personal bias now. We're going to go into that question. But out of all the advice I'm pretty much giving people right now is to say, well, what do I need to do to get better? I'm like, stop being submission hungry. Like, rolling with a lot of people at the camp who were like maybe blues or purples, who were very submission focused. Like, you could see how willing they were to throw away any form of control they'd built up. I'm like, damn, like, when you've kind of peered through the veil a little bit, and you're like, oh my god, like, yeah, people really throw away control really easily in this sport. Like, it's like submissions are a weird addiction. Like, they think that the more submissions they get, the better they are.
You're right.
And they're saying something like, no, like, just because you get more submissions doesn't mean you're better. Like, you may get a lot of Hail Marys and stuff. Like, people who, like, I control people into the ground and get, like, start climbing up from the side up, up their side. And then they try and go for buggy chokes and shit. And I'm like, there's desperation there. It's all Hail Marys. Like, instead of learning how to be efficient and on top and in control, you just think, you try and get cheats out of it. Like, how can I just, I fucked up. I'm terrible at this game. I'm terrible at being on top. So what little Hail Mary can I get on the bottom before I get murdered?
Yeah, you're right. Like, control does, it's certainly improved my control. I can honestly say that when I've gone from submission focus off. It's sometimes fun to always have them roles where you can just be free and open, playful, and just start throwing submissions from everywhere.
Yeah. Maybe I'm on this Zen trip for the next couple of years or something, of just like learning perfect control and seeing what happens.
Yeah, it'll be a good experiment.
That's my mission right now. This is it. And so we're going to start this beginner course beginning of September, and I want to see what happens if we just teach people this way, like new prototypes.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the experiment.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I out of all the different prototypes we've kind of built over the years of what would work the best, I think we're at a point now that I'm feeling very confident with how these people will take it.
Yeah, we've had good results, haven't we, recently?
Oh,
Lord, the people coming through.
Dude. Well, that goes on to the next question. So this was us asked on the Discord channel. I think you know what's coming. Are we an echo chamber?
No.
Yes. Yeah. Well, yeah.
I guess that answers the question.
There's a slight echo because, like, we obviously train together. We're on the same team. We've got a lot of similar opinions. But like, it's rare to not be in an echo chamber. Like, the thing is, it's like there's a level of being an echo chamber, me and you just chatting shit and everything, but in comparison to maybe jiu-jitsu on a whole, we have always been very open with changing things. Of going, like, if we take on new information and it works better than what we have, we go, okay, we'll sack it off then. Like, the amount of cultists that are out there who go very dogmatic in one perspective, even when it doesn't kind of make sense to carry on that dogmatic approach. Like the Preet stuff, we've kind of abandoned Preet stuff in its entirety.
Yeah, more or less.
Where we've gone through so many layers and levels of jiu-jitsu since you started and since I started, where back when you started, we didn't really do leg locks.
No, the odd knee bar and ankle lock here and there, and yeah, it wasn't a proper leg lock system we had, was it? It was
No.
just individual moves.
Yeah, we didn't have a leg lock system, and we were just doing regular kind of jiu-jitsu, and there's no leg. Dude, imagine that. Back when you began, we were just doing regular jiu-jitsu with guard and regular submissions and side control and mount and all that jazz, and barely any takedowns. We'd mostly pull guard, and then if we then try stuff that works better, when Preet stuff came around and when leg locks came around, let's put these in. Let's see how this affects things. If we then get progress, we're like, cool, because we're very open to traveling around or inviting or letting people come train with us. And if things fail, we've always been ones to go, actually. So when the Preet stuff started to fail and we started to break it, we weren't then going to be like, no, we have to keep the Preet stuff. We're like, no, doesn't work. Let's move on.
Yeah.
And it's the same with this whole stand-up stuff that we're doing right now. Is that I've been quite fortunate just with I've spent 2 weeks at the Globetrotters camps, and there was 60 black belts from all over the world in attendance across the two camps, and I rolled with a large majority of them. And being able to play with these ideas and see how they turn out, and then give them to other people, and then get the feedback off them. And I had people coming up with the whole. I did about the guard passing, tripoding when you're guard passing, and I had people come up to me afterwards saying like they've already felt their game. Like, I think one person said they felt like a 20% jump in their jiu-jitsu. Like, cool. If people said it sucked, I would have changed it.
Yeah, that's what we're all about, really. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, then we need to fucking think about it.
Yeah, and so I think there's a level of echo chamber in that it's me and you talking, but we're open enough to go trying new things and rolling with new people. We're not insular in that way. As in, it's not like we're not protectionist. We're not like, no, we can't, students can't go anywhere else, and you have to, no one's allowed in this gym. We put high price barriers up. Like, no, it's free. Anyone else wants to come train with us, it's free. And I tell you guys to fuck off at every opportunity to go train elsewhere.
Yeah, agreed.
So I think, I think we've got very strong opinions on this when we talk on the podcast. But in regards to jiu-jitsu and improving things, we've never been stagnant.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything that we've said, this has to stay. Everything's open to be changed. Everything.
I mean, jiu-jitsu's got a very cultish personality to it anyway. And, at least we don't have insignia emblazoned across us all that you have to wear the same uniform.
We can't be attacking people now, Chris.
I'm not. I feel we are very open to ideas. And if people want to give us different ideas, we'll try them.
Yeah, we don't shy away, do we?
No. And if things work well, we take it on. We always have. Like, as soon as Charles introduced this idea of elbow framing get up, like, ooh, that's nice. We'll take that because it works better than what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Then if someone came up to us and was like, oh no, you have to play De La Hiva, we'd be like, well, eat these leg locks. Oh, then what you're doing is problematic. We won't be taking that on board. Not that it's echo chamber and protectionist. It's like, well, that just doesn't work as well for what we're doing. So we won't take it. But if someone then shows us a really cool elbow frame in a way of like heisting a leg out, oh, we'll take that. I like that one. Because it works well.
Yes.
Anyway, should we do a couple of questions from Jimmy's bag?
Go on then.
Here we go, Knack. What is the biggest lesson you've learned over the last 6 months that you've immediately implemented?
Always be on
Weird.
top. Discipline.
Yeah.
Stay disciplined.
Actually, yeah. Out of everything, like, discipline. Discipline. Like, we've been playing on top now for over a year, almost 2 years. And doing this, you know, we're doing balance and posture and alignment for a year now. And the one thing that's kind of really been driven home a lot, and I push it quite extensively in class, is discipline. We know it works. We've tried it. We've tried it against so many people in and outside of the gym. And it's discipline. It's always discipline.
Yeah, 2024, year of discipline.
Exactly. And it's always has been. Hand fighting, posture, balance, getting up. It's just discipline. Discipline to do it.
Don't get greedy.
Yeah, it's a sense of like discipline to do the game plan and not get desperate, not get greedy, and if you fail, understand that that's part of learning as well. And then go back to and then understand where it went wrong, and then go do it again, and not just revert back to a Hail Mary. Just think, screw it, I'm going to panic on my way out. Like, no, discipline, go again.
Yeah, definitely. That's the biggest one, I think, for the last 6 months.
Yeah, biggest one. Next question. Could a white belt run a BJJ class better than a black belt?
Potentially, yeah, because skill in the sport doesn't necessarily mean whether you can teach someone or not. Like, a teacher is a guide. You know, they pass on knowledge, and then they help you learn the best way you can. So yeah, I don't think I always hate this argument, man, where should a white belt be teaching or should a blue belt be teaching? Like, there's parts of the world where there's no bloody jiu-jitsu, you know, and where are you going to find someone who knows how to do jiu-jitsu to come teach you jiu-jitsu? You just got to fight and learn and help each other. And yeah, like, I'll use this again. You know, we've had high level black belts come in and do seminars, and we've thought, okay, they've done an absolutely shit job of trying to get across what they actually do so well, which probably a white belt somewhere around the world could have taught better. Maybe not would have done it better than them, but could have probably taught it better than them. I think it's two different things.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, one thing we've been saying for a while is that the criteria for being a black belt or climbing the belts in jiu-jitsu is usually just kick someone's ass, like in new and inventive ways and successfully, and keep kicking more and more ass. None of that is like, it's rare that teaching ability comes into it. Like, you might have some skill in explaining what you're doing, but actual coaching ability, no. And it's one thing, you know, bless him, Preet says, is that black belts aren't some sort of oracle on life or even good teachers half the time. Like, you know, when you consider on the mats, you've got engineers, doctors, professors, teachers, you know, all manner of professional people who are qualified in teaching. Okay, yeah, they can't kick someone's ass as effectively, but they're highly skilled in actually disseminating knowledge. And so you could have, a black belt who might be a killing machine, but is dumb as rocks when it comes to explaining jiu-jitsu. Or you could have a white belt that's been training, for a while, can read into jiu-jitsu very well, and can explain to someone else, like, this is what I need you to do. This kind of makes the most sense physically. Maybe, obviously experience comes into it. I'm kind of playing a bit devil's advocate here. But I think there's a level of, if a white belt has enough kind of math experience to understand their body and understand jiu-jitsu, I think they could probably give a better shot at it than some black belts.
Yeah, defo.
Maybe give them to their purple belt, but that's why I've never been kind of protectionist on, because the whole jiu-jitsu hierarchy is just a made-up thing. Like, it's just some belts, for fuck's sake. That means you're better at beating up better people. Doesn't mean anything. If you come across someone who's got good teaching technique, then why not let them teach? Like, we've got plenty of white belts and blue belts in ours. I'd happily see them teach.
Yeah, I agree with you. A lot of them can.
Exactly, I know they can. I'm very proud of their abilities too, because they're smart people. There's some people that'll be like, nah, maybe not today. You're very good, but you might find it awkward. But then some others, you think, damn, this person's on it. What the fuck? Right, you ready for this one?
Go on.
How many fingers do you oil check with?
What the fuck, man? People got some weird kinks.
Oh, I think it's about fingers. I think it's more knuckles. Like, how many knuckles deep are we going?
Mate, I don't know. I've never oil checked anyone, not intentionally anyway, but, to be fair, I can't remember. Maybe once I've probably been oil checked. I can't remember. I don't think it happens often.
No, I've just once aggressively.
Yeah, I remember. I remember. I was witness to that.
once to focus my mind. But I don't think it's the number of fingers. I think it's knuckles. Like, I think if you could maybe go for like 3 or 4, but if you're only going like fingernail deep, then that's barely an oil check. But if you've got just like 1 and you're like 3 knuckles in, like then that's a good check. You're wearing someone like a puppet at this point. If you can go like all in, 4 fingers, a thumb and all knuckles, like up to the wrist, then I don't know what we can call that one. That's the mechanic right there. Like you're well under the bonnet. Like you're not just checking oil. Like you're
getting a full service now.
Yeah.
You're getting a full service now.
You're changing the timing chain on that one. Fan belts.
Oh my god.
Are small grapplers always annoying?
Yeah, fucking little shit. They wiggle out of everything, man. But the best thing or the good thing is they're the fuckers that will make your jiu-jitsu better, because you have your control and your fucking timing has to be so right. They fucking wiggle out of everything, man. If there's a little bit of light coming through, the fucking squiggly little worms, and then you feel sorry for them because you don't want to slap them about because of size difference, but you think, I'm going to have to because you're taking the piss.
Dude, I occasionally feel bad for it, but I feel that I have to go hard on them.
Yeah, I'm of the same opinion now. I can't be. I don't want to be nice when it comes to that now.
No, man. I have to. Like, if you're a tall person, yeah, small people are super annoying. They're just getting all the little tiny cracks everywhere, like worm people. But yeah, they do make you control better. But yeah, small people, man. Like, I could get around their guard, and all of a sudden, like, even though I've got all that control in, little kneecap finds its way in again. I'm like, for fuck's sake,
yeah.
I'm just like...
And they're generally very flexible, smaller people are. So even your submissions, they make better because your mechanics have to be right.
Dude, there was one guy sparred with at the camp, and he's jacked upper body, jacked across the shoulders, but the smallest legs. Like,
Oh, he's a mirror muscle trainer.
dude, he looked like an ice cream cone. Like he
Johnny
had
Bravo.
yeah, exactly. Like tiny, tiny legs. So like you'd have a hard time kind of fastening onto his upper body, and his legs would find their way back in again. You're like, or he'd push you with his giant fucking ham fists, and his little legs come back in again. You're like, fuck you. Like, okay, fine. Like, I'm just gonna have to sit on your legs and keep doing this.
Yeah, you're gonna get tortured now. Sorry.
Sorry, you brought this on yourself.
Blame your physique.
Why do you keep the B in BJJ? Perhaps an E instead.
E4 English Jiu-Jitsu.
Dude, that sounds that goes all the way back to what we were saying at the beginning. That sounds racist. Like other countries, like do proudly wave their flag. Like the US, like their flags everywhere. Going to like Denmark, Norway, their kind of flags kind of going around. Germany, maybe not as much, but they still have it going around a little bit. But if you see a George's Cross in England, nah, man, like not going near those people. Like, someone flying the red cross on the white background, like nah, I'm not going near them. Like, and anyone that's like, that's kind of like if someone asked me like where I'm from, I go, I'm from Britain. I don't say England, like, because that automatically means, I'm English. Oh dear. What are you going to do?
They've done themselves a lot of harm, worldwide reputation-wise, haven't they, recently?
Massively. Yeah, I feel so embarrassed to say English. So maybe we could keep it as BJJ, British Jiu-Jitsu. But
yeah.
even then, man. Nah.
I know.
Should we go for EJJ, European?
Well, then you'd have the Americans say it's going to be AJJ, American Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh, fuck them. Man, I don't know. I think we just keep it BJJ for like marketing reasons, even though what we do is barely jujitsu.
Yeah.
I saw someone whinging the other day saying, I think it was on Reddit, and I had to turn my phone off and close Reddit just because I felt a stroke coming on from reading it. And it was about how successful standing up is becoming against jiu-jitsu, about, getting up, and how wrestling is dominating jiu-jitsu so much. Like people who can dominate with wrestling and submission defense. And like one guy goes, "Why do you have to keep getting up? Why can't you just play this game on the floor like it's supposed to be played?" And I was just like, no, I can't. I have to go.
But mate, I avoid Reddit like the plague. Like, there are some bright idiots on there, bro.
Dude, I read that and I was like, I can't. I have to go to sleep because I'm going to be here all night if I reply to this.
Try to explain to people.
Like, you're not doing the sport properly if you're not doing it on the floor.
Yeah, let's include some strikes and we'll see what you're talking about then.
Ready for this one? This is similar to what you actually just said. What do you think of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu schools that mostly do self-defense? Useful? Question mark.
I don't know what is Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. I always hear this term, but I don't know what it means.
So it's the, when post-MMA career hoists, and I think Henna may do some and stuff like that, where they do like self-defense stuff, like, where they do blocking punches or knife defense and like traditional Japanese jiu-jitsu kind of looking stuff.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so in other words, they very light rolling to my knowledge, and then lots of like the traditional kind of Japanese jiu-jitsu self-defense kind of stuff. Sorry, pardon me.
I don't know. Sounds like another con.
Dude, yeah. Like
Defense Lab.
Honestly, apart from Roger and maybe a little bit of Crone, maybe over 10 years ago, I don't think the Gracies have been relevant for a very, very, very long time.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would agree with that.
And so a lot of what they do is just marketing.
Mm.
The simple idea that you can't even get up to 10th Dan or whatever it is in jiu-jitsu unless you're one of the Gracies. I'm like, that is so ridiculous. It's for them only. I'm like, what? Like, I'm never going to get there anyway. But
Yeah, but that's what the B is there for in BJJ.
calling it Gracie Jiu-Jitsu is like, yeah, no. And that self-defense stuff, like, it doesn't work.
Yeah,
Like,
I
it just
agree.
doesn't work.
Yeah, if it's anything to do like fucking defense level Japanese jiu-jitsu, then I don't know. I
It
don't
doesn't
want to
work.
put off people from Japanese jiu-jitsu, but
Yeah, the stuff like the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, from what I've seen, it doesn't work. It does not work
wax
at all.
on, wax off.
Yeah, like, man, it's defend 2 punches, do like a standing throw or something. Like, just
You have to make
learn,
sound effects.
just learn wrestling. Like, again, it's the perspective of, if I can run the fuck away, I'm going to run away. I don't want to fight people. I do a sport. Like, I don't, the idea that, because people could have a knife, they could have anything, they could be just nuts, there could be more of them. I'm just going to, I was once going to run a self-defense class and advertise it. I'm going to do it at Stafford's track, like 400-meter track, and go, right, practice running on this. The faster you can run on this, the better your self-defense will be. If you get really fast, you've got really good self-defense. Yeah, so the only thing I need to know about self-defense is wrestling. If I can't run away, it means I'm being held onto or on the floor. What's going to get me off the floor? Wrestling. At which point I will leave again.
Yes, it's as simple as that.
Yeah, if someone says, oh, you ran away from that fight. Yeah, and I'm still here then.
Yep.
If I can't run away, I need to know how to wrestle. I could get lucky punched by someone. I could get stabbed. I could get glassed. I could get hit with a kosh of some sort. Like, I just want to leave. I don't want to fight people. I don't want to fight people. I'm playing a sport. So yeah, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu is just it's dangerous because you're giving people a false sense of what they're capable of, and then you put them in a bad situation, and they're gonna get fucked up.
Sad.
Last question: do you have any PTSD from Jiu-Jitsu, and do you think it helps make you better, escapes, etc.?
Yes, 100%. Because when you have them sleepless nights and you can't think about anything else, but other than that one or two things that happen to you, and it's something you've been working on, it's like, fuck, why isn't this working? I need to fix this. And you go through all the different possibilities in your head, and then you just can't wait till the next session to try it. And then the anxiety goes, and you're like, oh, okay, it's not as bad as I thought. But yeah, PTSD, I think, is really part of this sport.
I saw it from a different perspective, that question. More like, is there anything I do or I've done as a natural response due to doing so much jiu-jitsu? Like, does my body just operate a certain way? Like, I have fallen over, like, at the climbing wall, and I've done like a forward roll out of it, like a speed roll. Like I've break fall rolled out of a fall. I was like, oh, that just kind of came naturally. And the other one was, I was once in a mosh pit and I accidentally arm dragged someone when they went to push me.
Natural reactions.
Yeah, they went to push me and I arm dragged him and I ended up behind him. I think he was confused as I was. Like, we're both facing different ways and we're wondering where the other guy went.
Do you ever have this instinct where you go to hug someone and then you instantly just want to body lock them?
Oh, dude, there's more like I feel weird hugging someone and my arms are on top. I have to get underhooked. I have to be underhooked. I feel exposed otherwise.
Yeah, I could tell. Yeah. It's yeah. I don't think if you don't get them instincts or feelings, I don't think you're doing jiu-jitsu properly. or
No.
grappling properly because, yeah, them things. You just get this weird, like a spidey sense of like, no, I know we're just hugging, but like, you don't understand. I've suffered in this position.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this feels weird. Sorry, I need to keep my arms down. Are you cool with this? Like, it feels like, yeah, at that point, it's like a PTSD. Like, no, like, this is going to set off my anxiety if I have my arms up right now. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the only thing. Like I said, the weirdest one was I arm dragged a guy in a mosh pit. He went flying. Like, he really went to push me out. I just, whoop, straight out the way. Purely by accident. I didn't go into this mosh pit, like, think I'm going to have a great time and I'm going to arm drag some people. Like, because then I'd be worried about my own mental health and if I've lost my mind. Yeah, no. Not as much, but mostly that. Glad to be back. Are you?
Yeah, that was fun. It's been a few
Yeah,
weeks.
that was fun. It's been a couple of weeks. Right, well, we're back in the gym tomorrow. I'm really excited to be back with everyone. We've got lots to play with, and we've got to build this beginner's course up. So you get a good night's sleep, and I'll see you tomorrow, sir.
Yeah, see you tomorrow, friend.
Good night, everyone who's listening. Bye, dude.
Bye.